Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Naim Ahmed Adir. I will be your host today. Um, and we'll be diving into an inspiring topic. It's about from awareness to action, how ESG Institute mobilize changes. And today, my guest is Mr. Sadman Sakib Anik, who is the Executive Director of the ESG Institution Bangladesh. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, walaikum assalam. I'm good. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, I'm well.
Mhm.
So, my first question is how does the ESG Institute Bangladesh helps turn sustainability awareness into a real action that business and communities can take?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So, if I'm being honest, at ESG Institute Bangladesh, we uh, since you asked about awareness, we see awareness as only the first step, right? So because we believe that the real impact only happens when this awareness or this idea that comes into their mind turns into measurable outcomes and profitability in general. Because ultimately, if you're talking about any business, the main aspect or the main thing that their board will care about, their sustainability director or the managing director will care about is a business consistently making profit or adding value to the community whilst making money, right? So what we do is we help these businesses and also these communities translate just this sustainability jargon and talk and all these alphabets right into practice through four different dimensions. So we educate, we empower, we engage, and we mobilize. So under education, we have training, we have diploma courses, we have micro credentials, we have designated accreditations from, and we start from the entry level executive all the way up to the CEO and the directors. And under engagement, we have these different mobilization, these different platforms and different consulting techniques and tools and advisory sessions. And this is for like the company at large that they want to maybe access a loan or they want to access this particular market, but they don't understand what they're asking for, right? So because what a business is used to is they're going, okay, I have this product, it costs this much, right? So you're taking it from India, you're getting it for 20 taka, I can sell you for 10 taka. Will you buy? Usually they're used to saying, oh, you're cheaper, so yes. But right now, what companies they're being asked, okay, sure, but where's your compliance certificate? What's your greenhouse gas emission? Do you have different labor policies? Do you have ESG report? And then, they're getting flustered and they're coming back is like, okay, we don't understand the thing that they asked us to do. So that is where the engagement comes in. That's where we come in as well. And we have advisory services, consulting services. Like, for example, if a company doesn't even have a sustainability team, we help them build, recruit, we help them train, we help them build sustainability team, and we also help them set up data centers so that they can keep track of change and transformation. Because at the heart of sustainability is you need to understand where your company is going, what your company's risks are. It can be climate, it can be carbon emissions, it can be labor, it can be regulations, and it can even be flooding, and how you're tackling it every single year and how you're reaching that target, ultimate target as well. So it can be through initiatives, it can be through different, and we help the companies kind of identify this, calculate how much money they will need to invest, and also how much money they can make through these different changes. So we have all these different things, and also we have events, we have awards, we have summits, we have global and local events where companies join in and they learn from each other. They also celebrate the best practices so that more companies learn, okay, this is what I'm supposed to go. And we can also, they can also get a chance, okay, I'm from a Bangladeshi company and I can showcase, I want clients from different countries, so they get to showcase their what they've done to other countries as well. So we give them that platform, that promotion, organizational tools and activities and PR that they want. Right. So our role as the ESG Institute is just to scale up their sustainability efforts and also help them introduce new sustainability policies. And so that they see ESG not just as charity or just planting trees or just one-off activities, they see it as like a competitive strategy because that's where the world is headed and that is needed for the long-term growth.
Thank you, sir. That's truly inspiring, sir. It shows how awareness, when it's guided by purpose, can create a long-term impact on our planets and people.
Right.
So my next question will be, what are the biggest challenges Bangladeshi companies face when trying to adopt ESG practices, and how they adopt, how they face
Okay.
difficulties and challenges when they
All right.
adopt ESG practices
All
in
right.
Bangladesh?
So in Bangladesh, I think the biggest challenge would be the people don't know exactly what they don't know, right? So if you look at it, and usually Bangladeshi companies, they're very top down. It's usually there's like a board or a chairman or one CEO who calls the shots, right? So who tells everyone what to do. So a lot of it is very top,
Autocrat.
right? So we won't call it autocrat. We'll probably call it a very pointy pyramid. Like the organizational hierarchy is very vertical. It's not very horizontal. It's not very flat, right? So it's very top down. So if the
Yes,
MD,
totally.
so it's like if my MD sir tells me to do this, I will do this. I'll not even ask the questions, right? So this directional change is probably their biggest challenge because if the CEO kind of understands, okay, hey, my competitors are doing something like this, I also want to do this, but that person does not completely understand what they're doing. The first instinct for most businesses, local businesses, is to not uh, completely understand or learn about it or build their own capacity. They would probably just hire someone who can fill in that gap, right? So, and then just leave them at it. Like, okay, you handle this, I'll handle the sales and the other things. So, and that becomes the problem, right? So they're trying to essentially what businesses want to do is they want to outsource the paperwork, not the process, right? So they don't want to integrate ESG and sustainability into their business. And if you go to the most sustainable companies in the world who enjoy the most amount of market access, who enjoy the most amount of profits, who enjoys the shortest rate of loans in the world and which leads to more profits as well, and these are like the core reasons that people do sustainability and ESG because obviously there's more profit if you do ESG. The If you go to these companies, you'll see that they have is they have departments, sustainability and ESG, which is as important as their marketing department, their finance department, just supply chain, all these other departments, which are like the core of the business, right? So it's a core part of what they do business, and the policies and everything else is very
Yes.
structured. Right. So we don't have that yet. So I think this data, this direction, this discipline, that is very severely lacking. That's going to be the first challenge. The second challenge is, like I said, the first instinct of a company CEO would be, okay, I'll find the best person, I'll give them a lot of money,
Yes.
they'll be working for me and they'll solve my problem. There isn't enough people for that in the country, right? So we don't have ESG or sustainability um, majors in universities, right? So we don't have MBA degrees, we don't have accessible education for companies, right? In terms of corporate training, we don't have that. And we don't have any in the universities as well. The closest thing we have is maybe development education or environmental science, which is like not really everything, right? So we need
Yes.
something that is like a mix between uh, discipline of like a BBA degree as well as like an engineering degree. It's going to be like a mix of that. And that is the same case for universities around the world. would teach sustainability in ESG. So we don't have that. As a result, we don't have enough professionals who are working in here,
Mhm.
we're experts in here. So we don't have enough people to actually drive that change. So probably that's another huge gap.
So,
So yeah, so direction, awareness, and discipline. So those will be the biggest challenges.
has your institute helped any of Bangladeshi uh, companies to move on from those challenges?
Yeah, so we're consulting a lot of big companies currently. Right. So a lot of local companies as well as a lot of MNCs. And if you, we have two or three, we have two batches and three diplomas already on the way. And we have all those are catering to different professionals for sustainability reporting or ESG management. And we have quite a few courses on the way as well, which will help lot more companies. And our goal is to certify around 1,000 different practitioners by 2026. And this year alone, we certified around 250. So we're one-fourth of the way to that goal. And so by the end of, say, December, so I think we'll be on our way to around 400 to 450 people whom we have certified to some extent in some format, because ESG is like a multi-plenary discipline. You can be an expert in reporting, you can be an expert in tracking, you can be an expert in certifications or environment or HR. So we're trying to create professionals who are basically specialists in one or the other, right? So that is basically one of our core targets, core aspects of what we do. And yeah, so we have quite a few already there and quite a few along the way for other companies to take advantage of.
Right. You said previously that Bangladesh don't offer any degree about sustainability or ESG.
Mm.
Should Bangladeshi universities should take this step to offer degrees?
Absolutely. I mean, let's say, for example, if you look at the advantage um, of ESG and sustainability just in Bangladesh alone, if you want access to premium markets like the EU, which will give you, say, 80 or 90% more money per product than if you sold it here in Bangladesh, right? So you need ESG and sustainability inside your company. For example, there's like a lot of big conglomerates, right? So I'm pretty sure you can name a few. If you talk about the electronics market, there's like one or two companies who has like 60 or 70% of the products in the market. If you look
Yeah,
at
yes.
paper, there's like one or two companies who control like 60-70% of the market there. Same goes for FMCG and the other different industries as well. So if you're just working inside the country, and one of the mindsets is Bangladeshi companies, if they're just inside Bangladesh, just operating inside Bangladesh, they don't have a lot of growth, right? So that's like the primary challenge, that they can only grow at like 5, maybe 7%, 10% in a good year. But they cannot grow more than that. The only way for a company to grow their revenue and their size is if they expand outside the country. And and we don't have a lot of companies who can do that from Bangladesh, because they cannot compete globally, not with the price, but with the quality and also compliance like ESG and sustainability. And once you're compliant with sustainability, a lot of markets automatically open up, which a lot of companies understand now. The problem becomes obviously the gap, right? So if I'm talking about statistics and numbers here, just because LinkedIn did publish a study last year which said that the jobs relevant to ESG and sustainability grew 40% year on year, right? So for example,
Yes.
if there were like 100,000 jobs in
Mhm.
2024, by 2025 they had, because these are just jobs on LinkedIn, there's like other platforms as well. Just on LinkedIn there were 140,000, right? From
40,000,
100,000 to 140. So 40% more year on
40%
year
more.
growth. And this is actually continuing to grow. That's what they said. And another thing is, if you're just looking at these jobs, only 1 in 4 of these jobs actually close successfully, which means they could not find people for the other three jobs
Mm.
because there weren't enough people.
There
So
aren't
it just
enough people.
makes right. So this is basically a career sector which pays well because there aren't enough people, and that has demand not only in Bangladesh but around the world, right? Which
Yes.
opens up like career opportunities for students everywhere. And even if you look at PhD, Bangladesh has one person who has a PhD in sustainability, just one, right? And that person is in and Alhamdulillah that that person is in a lot of different boards and all the top MNC boards as well, right? So it just opens up so many opportunities if one university pioneers decides to pioneer, okay, we're the first university to give sustainability and ESG education in the country. So it just makes, again, it makes business sense for the university
Right.
to actually invest in sustainability and ESG education as well.
I think they should invest in the sustainability more.
They should.
And okay, my last question will be, how do you see the ESG awareness turning into a nationwide movement for sustainable change in Bangladesh?
Well, it's already happening, but it's happening slower than it's expected, but surely it's happening. Because like I already mentioned, Bangladesh Bank has already passed a law, given out a circular that by next year, sustainability reporting is mandatory for banks. IFRS S1 S2, which ESG backed reporting of all the banks, and BGMEA has their own ESG network, ESG platform, digital platform that they're trying to work with. There's also like Swiss Contact and all these other NGOs in who work in the RMG sector, who has put a lot of money in to give like free education and capacity building and platforms so that the RMG sector becomes compliant very fast so that they can access to more markets, right? And this is already going on, but I think for it to become a movement, it won't happen overnight, but it does require alignment because currently, what it seems like BGMEA, DSC, the BSEC, Bangladesh Bank, everyone is like in a race. Okay, we need to be the first ones to start ESG and sustainability in the country. But the problem is, it's not really a race.
Mhm.
It's there needs to be like a regulatory alignment, right? So. And the good thing is that the businesses are in alignment, even if the regulators are trying to compete. So, for example, last week, if you saw that there was, I think I've mentioned this before, that there was a law that passed that private sector
Mhm. Yes.
companies can now invest if they have enough land, they can build a solar plant and they can sell it to the government. And other factories who don't have space for a solar plant on their rooftops, or they need more, solar energy for because their plant is so big, they can buy from the government. So the private, so the private, and this was a law that has been pushed by the private sectors. So the government didn't come up with this. The private sector is kind of pushed. Okay, this is something we need because our buyers want less carbon emissions. This is something we need. So they kind of pushed so that this got passed through. And this is going to be really good for companies in terms of revenue, right? So they have more revenue because they have more land. And this is going to be good for the environment as well and for sustainability. So the buyers are happy. The other foreign importers from Bangladesh, they are also happy as well. So it's just a win-win situation. So there needs to be a decent sort of alignment between regulators and NGOs and development bodies and the foreign buyers and embassies and the companies. And they need to be embedded into the economic plan. Because, for example, you asked me, and that was a very smart question that, shouldn't universities do it? One of the reasons universities cannot do it is because the education board won't let them, right? Because if the Ministry of Education told the universities that, look, inside your core, you have core capstone. Do you call them capstone
Mhm.
projects, capstone courses, or core courses?
Core
The courses that
courses.
you have core courses, right? So core or
Yes, core.
capstone, whatever courses that you need to take in your BBA if the Ministry of Education themselves told the universities that, look, if you want to give a BBA degree, one of your core courses has to be
mm,
ESG or sustainability. Right. And that will actually fill in the job market as well, help with the job market. If that happens, all the universities automatically have to teach sustainability in ESG. Right.
mm,
So the pressure actually has to be like all out, all throughout. It doesn't cannot be just just Bangladesh Bank doing it or just like the RMGs doing it. It needs to be like every single
every
entity
single
rising up and trying to make ESG like a shared identity so that it helps the country. Because face it, if you're talking about in numbers, unless we do this very soon, we'll see almost a 30% decline in our exports from to Europe. And 80% of our exports already are because of Europe, and which is like significant, right?
mm.
And that's basically a wake up call that uh, sustainability is not really good ethics, it's just good for business as well.
Thank you so much. That will be for today, and I'm honored to have you in my show. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you for
coming.
having me. Take care.
Thank you for okay. Thank you, sir.